Describe a situation where you received important advice from others. You should say when you got it, from whom you got the advice, how important it was to you. Did you do anything special in return for the person who gave you the advice? Sample answer. We keep receiving advice from others all through our lives, but sometimes we receive some pieces of information or suggestions that can actually change many things in our lives and enable us to pick new directions. I also received one such advice when I completed my graduation. I was in a dilemma regarding whether to join my father's business or to do something on my own. In this situation, I started both. I started going to my father's office for a few hours every day, and I also started applying for jobs. However, because I was not sure of the specific kind of job I wanted, I applied for different types of jobs. One day, I met a senior from my college who was doing a marketing job at the time. We went to a restaurant to catch up on our old college memories. I shared my career confusion with him. In the course of the conversation, he understood my problem very well and started telling me more about the role of marketing executive that he was engaged in. He explained that by getting involved in a marketing job right after graduation, one could get a chance to dip his toes in the good, constructive, and challenging experiences of life, job settings, and society. He also added that a good marketing job in a good company could help a person imbibe qualities such as persuasion, convincing power, and strong communication skills, along with an understanding of different types of people and their mindsets. To top it, we can improve our spoken English and marketing job. After listening to him, I decided to try for a job in the field of marketing. I was selected by a multinational company as a marketing executive, and I started working for the company. While doing that job, I realized that there were lots of hardships faced by those who moved for about wearing a tie, looking otherwise happy and confident. Soon I learned many skills of communication and persuasion, and I also improved my spoken English because I had to promote my product to elite classes of society. I was able to understand the mindsets of the rich and upper middle class segments, which really helped me later in my life and is still helping me today. Receiving this piece of advice at such an important phase of my life provide proved invaluable for me. Later, I gifted a wonderful wristwatch to my college friend as thanksgiving for giving me such a precious piece of advice. We keep receiving advice from others all through our lives, but sometimes we receive some pieces of information or suggestions that can actually change many things in our lives and enable us to pick new directions. I also received one such advice when I completed my graduation. I was in dilemma regarding whether to join my father's business or to do something on my own. In this situation, I started both. I started going to my father's office for a few hours every day. I also started applying for jobs, however, because I was not sure of the specific kind of job I wanted, I applied for different types of jobs. One day, I met a senior from my college who was doing a marketing job at the time. We went to a restaurant to catch up on old college memories. I shared my career confusion with him. In the course of the conversation, he understood my problem very well and started telling me more about the role of a marketing executive that he was engaged in. He explained that by getting involved in a marketing job right after graduation, one could get a chance to dip his toe in a good, constructive, and challenging experience of life, job setting, and society. He also added that a good marketing job in a good company could help in person imbibe qualities such as persuasion, convincing power, and strong communication skills, along with an understanding of different types of people and their mindsets. To top of it, we can improve our spoken English marketing job. After listening to him, I decided to try for a job in the field of marketing. I was selected by a multinational company as a marketing executive and I started working for that company. While doing that job, I realized that there were lots of hardships faced by those who moved about wearing a tie, looking otherwise happy and confident. Soon I learned many skills of communication and persuasion, and I also, because I had to promote my product to elite classes of society, I was able to understand the mindsets of rich and upper middle class segments, which really helped me later in my life and still helping me today. Receiving this piece of advice at such an important phase of my life proved invaluable for me later. I gifted a wonderful wristwatch to my college friend as a thanksgiving for giving me such a precious piece of advice. Follow up questions and answers. The first question of cue card number 39. What what do today's youngster follow more? The advice of their friends or their family members. It depends on the situation. If youngsters want to buy clothes or vehicles or looking at to take up job temporarily, they may give more importance to advice of their friends. But if they want to take important decisions about their life regarding marriage, career or studies, they tend to give much consideration to advice of their family members. The question number 2 of Q card number 39. Do you think people should go to counselors for advice? Do you think people should go to counselors for advice? Yes, if required. People ought to go to counselors for advice because counselors are competent professionals who have more knowledge about various aspects of life than laymen and more importantly can provide their clients with an objective viewpoint regarding any situation. Generally we keep viewing our situations with highly subjective mind from first person point of view. So with our emotions involved in the equation, we may not be able to come to conclusion in the case of a dilemma. However, if a third person gives us some proper objective advice, we can get excellent clarity regarding our problem and find the best possible solution. The question number 3. Should a counselor be a trained and qualified person or not? Why? Should a counselor be a trained or qualified person or not? Why? Yes, I think counselor must be qualified and trained professionals. What's more, they should be highly experienced in their field so that they can give clients the benefit of their qualification as well as their experience. Sometimes I have observed that advice of an experienced person proves more fruitful as compared to advice of a qualified professionals who is still a novice. Yes, I think counselors must be qualified and trained professionals. What's more, they should be highly experienced in their field so that they can give clients the benefits of their qualification as well as their experience. Sometimes I have observed that advice of an experienced person proves more fruitful as compared to the advice of a qualified professional who is still a novice. Practice questions. Question number 1. Is there any other occasion when you received advice from your family? The practice question number 2. In which situation do you take advice from your family members? Question number 3. Do you take advice from people other than your family members? If yes, in which situation, and if not, why? So we must write answers to these practice questions for our improvement in English language. Talk about an event in history that took place in your country. You should say what this event was, when it took place, What was the outcome of the event? Is the event inspirational in your opinion? Talk about an event in history and took place in your country. You should say what this event was, when it took place, was what was the outcome of that event. Is that event inspiration in your opinion? I would like to talk about the Battle of Saragadi here. This battle is considered one of the most inspiring last stands in history. Saragadi was a post which connected two British Indian forts near the border area of Afghanistan. Here, 21 Sikh soldiers of the 36th Sikh Regiment fought an army over over 10,000 Afghans and managed to kill 600 of them. Eventually, they became martyrs to enemy bullets. After putting up a valiant fight, this battle took place on 12 September 1897 in Tirha, which became part of Pakistan after the partition. The odds were stacked 1 476 against 6, and they knew very well that the mud walls of the fort would not be able to stand for long against the attacks of invading Afghan forces. They had the option of retreating without putting up a fight, but they chose not to under the leadership of Havaldar Ishur Singh. Earlier the morning, when they had seen the Afghan forces coming towards their post, the Sikhs had signals to Colonel stationed at nearby Fort Lockhart for reinforcement. Unfortunately, the colonel was not able to send any reinforcement at such short notice. Very sure of their victory, the invaders tried to entice the Sikhs to surrender. But even in the face of certain death, the brave Sikhs kept fighting rounds after rounds of bullets to the best of their abilities. That day, 21 brave Sardars managed to keep 10,000 invaders at bay for 3 hours. This gave Station Colonel some time to call in reinforcement and save the fort. Today, in honor of these lion-hearted Sikhs, 12th September 1897 is celebrated as a Saragadi Day. Three Gurudwaras have been built in commemorate the sacrifice of the Sikhs. In my opinion, this event is very inspiring, not only for me but for all my countrymen. Such bravery is rare. There are very few people who can lay down their lives deliberately for a cause that is not their own. Such noble and honorable deeds by the Sikh community have made them worthy of all the respect that the nation can bestow on. Today, in honor of these lion-hearted Sikhs, 12th September 1897 is celebrated as Saragadi Day. Three Gurudwaras have also been built to commemorate the sacrifice of the Sikhs. In my opinion, this event is very inspiring, not for me, but for all my countrymen. Such bravery is rare. There are very few people who can lay down their lives deliberately for a cause that is not their own. Such noble and honorable deeds by the Sikh community have made them worthy of all respect that nation can bestow on them. Follow-up questions and answers. The question number one: Are you interested in history as a subject? Are you interested in history as a subject? Yes, I quite like history as a subject. I used to enjoy history lessons ever during my school years. There was a phase when I started enjoying history so much that I seriously considered taking up archaeology as a subject during my undergraduate studies. Tales of royalty, invasions, wars, and love are strewn across time and space in the pages of history books. Studying history has always felt like reading interesting stories to me. I get lost in the glorious sages of the ancient times, and long after I'm done reading, those stories continue to occupy my mind. Yes, I quite like history as a subject. I used to enjoy history lessons even during my school years. There was a phase when I started enjoying history so much that I seriously considered taking up archaeology as a subject. During my undergraduate studies, tales of reality, invasions, wars, and love are strewn across time and space in the pages of history books. Studying history has always felt like reading interesting stories to me. I get lost in the glorious sages of ancient time, and long after I am done reading, those stories continue to occupy my mind. The question number two: which was your favorite subject in school? The question number two: which was your favorite subject in school? In school, I used to enjoy humanities the most. So, history, civics, and geography were, of course, some of the subject I liked. But my favorite subject was English. I appreciate languages a lot, and I consider literature an art form. My English teachers throughout schools were very well read, learned women who managed to get me very interested in the language by encouraging me to read lots of good books. By the time I was 7, my grammar had become perfect. Even, even though English is not my mother tongue, this even brought on a lot of appreciation from various people, making me want to study it more. In school, I used to enjoy humanities the most. So, history, civics, and geography were, of course, some of the subjects I liked. But my favorite subject was English. I appreciate languages a lot and I consider literature an art form. My English teachers throughout school were very well read, learned women who managed to get very interested in the language by encouraging me to read lots of good books. By the time I was 7, my grammar had become perfect, even though English is not my mother tongue. This even brought on a lot of appreciation from various people, making me want to study it more. The question number three: how does knowledge of history help us? Knowledge of history tells us more about our roots, about our past, where we can come from, and what our journey as a species have been like. Through time and geography, history shows us how far we have come since the time we evolved into humans. It gives us an insight into the good and bad decisions taken by influential people through time. As a species, we can learn lessons on ethics, morality, free will, and humanity by browsing through history books. Knowledge of history teaches us to be more tolerant to people who appear different than us, speak in different languages, and follow different religions. This helps people from across the world treat each other with respect and accept the planet as a global village. In the long run, knowledge of history can help prevent wars and establish peace across the world. Question number four: what is the difference between mythology and history according to you? History is representation of factual details in form of chronological arranged stories and anecdotes. History does not contain legends that have not been proven or stories that have no proof to be back them up. History based on documented evidence that have been passed down from generation to generation over time. Mythology, on the other hand, is full of legends and stories that are not backed by any proof. In fact, mythological stories are usually full of supernatural characters that have never actually been documented in reality. Myths take place in surreal landscape and in mythical stories. The heroes and heroines perform feats and the normal human cannot even think of performing. Mythology is full of seemingly imaginary tales about deities and demons, while history contains stories about real people who walked the planet at some point in time. History is representation of factual details in the form of chronological arranged stories and anecdotes. History does not contain legends that have not been proven or stories that have no proof to back them up. History is based on documented evidence that has been passed down from generation to generation over time. Mythology, on the other hand, is full of legends and stories that are not backed by any proof. In fact, mythological stories are usually full of supernatural characters that have never actually been documented in reality. Myths take place in surreal landscapes, and in mythical stories, the heroes and heroines performs feats that normal humans cannot even think of performing. Mythology is full of seemingly imaginary tales about deities and demons. Mythology is full of seemingly imaginary tales about deities and demons, while history contains stories about real people who walked the planet at some point in time. Cue card number 41. Speak about a family member who made you proud. You should say who this family member is, what he did to make you proud, how you showed him your appreciation. Are you in touch with this family member? Speak about a family member who made you proud. You should say who this family member is, what he did to make you proud, how you showed him your appreciation. Are you in touch with him, with this family member? I have a younger cousin brother who I have always been very close to. As a children, we used to play together a lot, and he would often come to me for guidance regarding his life. I remember that he had always been a very good student, and most of the time he would manage to get brilliant grades in school. This streak continued well into his 10th grade. However, in 11th grade, when it was time to select a discipline from among science, commerce, and arts, he got very confused. He went to many of our relatives for guidance, and he even came to me. Even after listening to everything we had to say, he would go back home just as confused as he had come. Then one of his friends asked him to sit and pen down his life goals and the steps necessary to achieve them. No sooner had he done this than he picked the science stream and embarked on his mission. He wanted to work for Google. I was impressed by the way he tackled subjects like physics and chemistry, in spite of not being interested in them. He treated them not as hurdles, but as stepping stones towards his ultimate goal. A few years back, he managed to snag a very good job and with Google in Canada. When he shared a good news with me, I was speechless. Such a young boy and so much dedication. I hosted a party for him to celebrate his success and invited all his friends and all our relatives. We even invited some of his tutors and mentors who had helped him along the way. This was my little way of showing him how much I appreciated his efforts. Today, he is still working with Google at a very good post and is enjoying life to the fullest. I'm very much in touch with him, and he even makes it a point to come down to India and visit us every year. At other times, we stay in touch through video calling and exchange gifts during festivals. Follow up questions and answers. Question number one: are you in touch with most of your relatives? I'm fond of socializing and have been very close to most of my relatives since my childhood, so I make it point to stay in touch with them. I still learn a lot from my relatives every time I speak to them, and I am genuinely interested in knowing what their lives as well as in sharing details of my life with them. I have video conferences over the weekends with relatives who are abroad, and I regularly meet up over dinners. And question number two: do you show your appreciation to people easily? I'm very expressive person. I see someone doing a good job or succeeding at something. I'm quick to appreciate them. If someone has acquired a new skill or is adept at a task or activity, I truly feel like appreciating their efforts. I think appreciation is very good tool for encouraging people to excel in life. I'm generous with showering praises on people, not just family and friends. Even if I see a good street musician playing a nice melody, I go forward and appreciate his efforts in my own small way. The world today needs encouragement and motivation, so I'm not one to be economic with words and gestures of appreciation. I'm very expressive person. If I see someone doing a good job or succeeding at something, that I'm quick to appreciate them. If someone has acquired a new skill or is adapted at the task or activity, I truly feel like appreciating their efforts. I think appreciation is very good tool for and encouraging people to excel in life. I'm generous with showering praises on a people, not just my family, friends. Even if I see good street musician playing or nice melody, I go forward and appreciate his efforts in my own small way. The world today needs encouragement and motivation, so I'm not one to be economic with words and gestures and appreciation. The question number three of QCA number 41. Question number three: what is the role of family in one's success? A person's family is his closest support system. The first people, the first people a person is acquainted with in life are his immediate family members. They are his primary caretakers, and their behaviors shape a person's character to a very large extent. People rely People rely on opinions of their family members because they trust them to be kind, yet honest. When a person sets a goal for himself, if his own family does not support him, he is quite likely to leave it halfway or fail at it. On the other hand, if his family encourages him, helps him get over initial bumps and failures, and motivates him to continue with his efforts, he is quite likely to be succeed. So the role of family is very crucial to one's success in life. A person's family is his closest support system. The first people and a person is acquainted with in life are his immediate family members. They are his primary caretakers, and their behaviors shape a person's character to a very large extent. People rely on the opinions of their family members because they trust them to be kind yet honest. When a person sets a goal for himself, if his or family member does not support him, he is quite likely to leave it halfway or fail at that. On the other hand, if his family encourages him, helps him get over initial bumps and failures, and motivates him to continue with his efforts, he is quite likely to succeed. So, the role of a family is very crucial to one's success in life. Question number four. Can pride as one's achievement lead to problems? Can pride in one's achievements lead to problems? A certain amount of pride is a necessity to maintain a good pace of work and stay motivated enough to achieve one's life goals. However, if self pride exceeds certain boundaries, it can quickly turn into overconfidence. An overconfident person is seldom likable to others. Further, it is a quality that is known to cause a person to stumble and make mistakes due to carelessness. Those who are confident stay motivated, but those who are overconfident become arrogant and prudish. They take others for granted and gradually alienate their own support system. A certain amount of pride is necessary to maintain a good pace of work and to stay motivated enough to achieve one's life goals. However, if self pride exceeds a certain boundary, it can quickly turn into overconfidence. An overconfident person is seldom likable to others. Further, it is quality that is known to cause a person to stumble and make mistakes due to carelessness. Those who are confident stay motivated, but those who are overconfident become arrogant and prudish. They take others for granted and gradually alienate their own support system. Talk about a well paid job that you think you would be very good at. You should say what this job is, what tasks it entails, why you think you would be good at it. Have you had any experience in the field? One job that I am very sure I would be good at is career counseling. There is a dearth of good career counselor in my city, and there are many youngsters today who need it, especially because of the growing competition and increasingly fast life. Many people come to me seeking advice regarding their career and life paths, and I am able to assist their decision making quite well. This job would indeed be well paying because of the immense value it adds to the person's life. The job essentially entails helping youngsters select the correct educational course at undergraduate and postgraduate levels of study based on their interests, talents, and skills. The key here is to help people identify what they would like to do in life in order to become successful while also enjoying their work. The next step is to help them select the right country for the course of study that they have narrowed in on, and then to assist them in selecting the correct college or university. Once these bases are covered, they can manage their own career path quite well, and job offers start pouring in for people who have graduated with good certification, diplomas, and degrees. The reason I think I would be good at this is that I have sufficient experience of the same. Thanks to my current business, further, I'm very good at reading people and understanding their motivation in life. Once I speak to someone for a while, I can gauge their strengths and weaknesses. I know how to help people capitalize on their plus points and diminish their negative qualities. My good communication skills help me with this to large extent. The reason I think I would be good at this that I have sufficient experience of the same thanks to my current business. Further, I'm very good at reading people and understanding their motivations in life. Once I speak to someone for a while, I can gauge their strengths and weaknesses. I know how to help people capitalize on their plus points and diminish their negative qualities. My good communication skills help me with this to large extent. The follow-up questions and answers of Q card number 42. Question number 1. Do you prefer doing a job or a business? I prefer doing business over doing job personally. This is probably because I'm well established in my business now and the journey has been very fulfilling for me. In my earlier years, I have done a few jobs and they taught me many essential life skills. Had I been asked this question 10 years ago, I might have said that I prefer job over business, but today I understand how rewarding my business has proven to be in spite of all initial struggles. Question number 2. What are the advantages of doing a job over owning a business? There are quite few advantages of doing job over owning a business. The first advantage of doing a job that comes to mind is in job, employees can remain quite tension free as regards the overall functioning of the business. All they need to concentrate on is their own job profile and the completion of individual and team tasks assigned to them. After work hours, they need not worry about what happens to businesses, assets, and liabilities. If for some reason the business ever even shut down, the employees usually have other options available in the market. What are the advantages of owning a business over doing a job? Owning a business gives the entrepreneur sufficient freedom to plan other things in life without worrying about whether or not he may get enough holidays. An entrepreneur can manage to find time for himself and his family members more easily than someone who is doing job. So there is more scope for personal growth and for indulging in leisure activities, traveling, or exploring hobbies if one owns a business instead of working under someone. Are more youngsters these days opting for jobs or businesses? I think a lot of youngsters are opting to do jobs over starting up their own business today because international markets have become very volatile and dynamic. It is very difficult for startups grow at a steady pace today. This means that break even takes longer these days than it used to earlier, but by consequences, banks and moneylenders are not very eager to fund new business at low interest rates. This makes the entire environment to start up a new business quite non-conductive. In a such scenario, most youngsters understandably find it more feasible to opt for a job instead of starting up their own business.